Welcome to Bite at a Time Books, where we read you your favorite classics one bite at a time. My name is Bree Carlile, and I love to read and wanted to share my passion with listeners like you. You can sign up for our newsletter at biteatatimebooks.com. You'll also find our new t-shirts in the shop, including podcast shirts and quote shirts from your favorite classic novels. Be sure to follow my show on your favorite podcast platform so you get all the new episodes. We're part of the Bite at a Time Books Productions Network. If you'd also like to hear what inspired your favorite classic author to write their novels, and what was going on in the world at the time, check out the Bite at a Time Books Behind the Story podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. Today we'll be continuing Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. Chapter 4. Attraction and Extinction. During the last months of spring and the first months of summer in 1833, the rare passers-by in the Marais, the petty shopkeepers, the loungers on thresholds noticed an old man neatly clad in black, who emerged every day at the same hour towards nightfall from the Rue de l'Homme Arme on the side of the Rue Sainte-Croix de la Bretonnerie, passed in front of the Blancs Manteaux, gained the Rue Culture St. Catherine, and on arriving at the Rue de la Charpe, turned to the left and entered the Rue St. Louis. There he walked at a slow pace, with his head strained forward, seeing nothing, hearing nothing, his eye immovably fixed on a point which seemed to be a star to him, which never varied, and which was no other than the corner of the Rue des Fleurs du Calvaire. The nearer he approached the corner of the street, the more his eye lighted up. A sort of joy illuminated his pupils like an inward aurora. He had a fascinated and much affected air. His lips indulged in obscure movements, as though he were talking to someone whom he did not see. He smiled vaguely and advanced as slowly as possible. One would have said that, while desirous of reaching his destination, he feared the moment when he should be close at hand. When only a few houses remained between him and that street which appeared to attract him, his pace slackened, to such a degree that at times one might have thought that he was no longer advancing at all. The vacillation of his head and the fixity of his eyeballs suggested the thought of the magnetic needle seeking the pole. Whatever time he spent on arriving, he was obliged to arrive at last. He reached the Rue des Fleurs du Calvaire. Then he halted. He trembled. He thrust his head with a sort of melancholy timidity round the corner of the last house, and gazed into that street. And there was in that tragic look something which resembled the dazzling light of the impossible, and the reflection from a paradise that was closed to him. Then a tear, which had slowly gathered in the corner of his lids, and had become large enough to fall, trickled down his cheek, and sometimes stopped at his mouth. The old man tasted its bitter flavor. Thus he remained for several minutes as though made of stone. Then he returned by the same road, and with the same step, and in proportion as he retreated, his glance died out. Little by little, this old man ceased to go as far as the corner of the Rue des Fleurs du Calvaire. He halted halfway in the Rue St. Louis, sometimes a little further off, sometimes a little nearer. One day, he stopped at the corner of the Rue Culture St. Catherine and looked at the Rue des Fleurs du Calvaire from a distance. Then he shook his head slowly from right to left, as though refusing himself something, and retraced his steps. Soon he no longer came as far as the Rue St. Louis. He got as far as the Rue Pavée, shook his head, and turned back. Then he went no further than the Rue des Trois Pavilions. Then he did not overstep the Blancs Manteaux. One would have said that he was a pendulum, which was no longer wound up, and whose oscillations were growing shorter before ceasing altogether. Every day he emerged from his house at the same hour. He undertook the same trip, but he no longer completed it. And perhaps without himself being aware of the fact, he constantly shortened it. His whole countenance expressed this single idea: what is the use? His eye was dim, no more radiance. His tears were also exhausted. They no longer collected in the corner of his eyelid. That thoughtful eye was dry. The old man's head was still craned forward. His chin moved at times. The folds in his gaunt neck were painful to behold. Sometimes, when the weather was bad, he had an umbrella under his arm, but he never opened it. The good women of the quarter said he is an innocent. The children followed him and laughed. Thank you for joining Bite at a Time Books today, while we read a bite of one of your favorite classics. Again, my name is Bree Carlile, and I hope you come back tomorrow for the next bite of Les Miserables. Don't forget, you can sign up for our newsletter at biteatatimebooks.com. And while you're there, check out our t-shirt shop. You can look in the show notes or on our website, biteatatimebooks.com, for the rest of the links for our show. We'd love to hear from you on social media. You can find us everywhere at Bite at a Time Books.